All right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. I am so excited to introduce you to a gorgeous friend, a divine sister. She is like literally the earth mama. She's a homeschooling mum of four. She's a gorgeous wife to one lucky, lucky man. And she's also the creator of the Divine Mother or creatrix, I want to say, but I don't feel that's the right word. So I'm going to introduce you to Ailie Clayton-Horne. And Ailie, if I said it wrong, because I'm just, as I said it, I went, oh, wait a minute, I got myself confused. So my gorgeous friend, I know you're a beautiful space holder and you are a gorgeous ceremonialist as well. But is there anything in that introduction that I had forgotten or missed or you would like to include?
Yeah, thank you, Rebecca. So, thank you for having me again. It's lovely to be in this space. And yeah, so the Divine Mother Temple healing and space, and it really is a codex, but that is my blossoming and beautiful business. And everything you said was me and as it is, and I'm an intuitive healer, and they are gifts that I've had always really, and just been cultivating a sacred space holder and a divine mama and all of those things. So thank
Yes.
you for having me. Nice to be here.
Oh my goodness. Yes, you are. And so just for everyone, I am up at a girlfriend's place in the beautiful Sunshine Coast, Noosa hinterland. So there are animals around. So if we hear anything, beautiful. They are just coding the place with us. So Ailie, one of the things I really love, so you did a masterclass the other day, which I will include here underneath so people can also um, check that out because it was a really beautiful transmission. And one of the things that I really loved about it is you talked about how your mother left when you were 5. And as part of that, your dad, the gorgeous man, came in and he kind of gave you that maternal instinct. And what I find really beautiful about that is it must be so deeply in your codex to be this beautiful mother and to hold that gorgeous mother space for people, because for you not to have had that mirrored for you or to you. So would you like to speak into um, how that came about, how you just like your whole story? I really want to hear because I think it's really important.
Yes, for sure. Yeah, so you're absolutely right. It is really interesting that even though my mum wasn't around, so yeah, my mum left me and I'm actually one of five girls. My mum had five girls. Yeah, to three different men. So my eldest two sisters, my half first, and then she had me and my full blood sister to our father, and then our younger sister to another man. So I actually lived with my full blood sister. Oh, and then I have a brother as well on my dad's side too.
Right.
So I lived with my full blood sister with our dad. Yeah, from about the age of 5 was when my mum and dad actually separated. And so I had mum has never really been maternal. She's never
Mm.
really been that motherly figure. And even now, she's not really, even though she's amazing at birthing, she's never had that maternal streak. Whereas our dad really was and does and is. And he just fully stepped into that mum dad essentially. And so I really feel like, these the way our life is and these really big events and parts of our unique stories are so important for our soul coding and what we're bringing through. And it's so nice to honor those and really, really like embrace them for what they are as part of our unique story and codex. And so my dad played a beautiful part in bringing through that like maternal, motherly instinct and love. However, it's then essentially been a really important part of what I'm bringing through, because I didn't necessarily have that. And so it's been part of my way of bringing that in and essentially healing that and holding that and starting to recalibrate that and anchor in this different energetic structuring and way of being and embodying for women, and the women that will come after me and the women that have come before me as well, that ripple effect out through the generations. And so I really feel that, and I really claim that. And so then, yeah, I have always had that like motherly nurturance. I've always been quite nurturing and holding in the way I hold my friends, and that space holding. And but it was really when I became a mother myself, which was at 20. I was 20 years old when I gave birth to my firstborn. And that was really when it started, like I started to open up. And actually, when before I gave birth to my firstborn daughter, I put this calling out for a teacher, which is really amazing. At the time, I was really deeply into plant spirit medicine, in like on the spiritual, connecting with the spirit of plants, not so much taking internally,
Mm.
but connecting with the spirit of the plants. And so I put out this calling for a teacher because I was craving a deeper mentorship. However, then what happened was I conceived my baby. And it was like, it was so perfect. It was absolutely perfect, because the journey of becoming a mum has been my greatest teacher and exactly what I've needed to open up this divine mother coding that was essentially dormant within me. I just hadn't fully realized it and embodied it. So it's
Mm.
really been through the process of being a mum in my everyday life and seeing how I am and what I do, and then also diving into those other parts of myself that really needed to be loved and healed so that I could step even deeper into that. Yeah.
So there's so much juiciness in there. And I'm like, I've
So
got
much.
25,000 different questions I want to ask to go into that. Um, but I guess the first thing I would, because we all have our different awakening points and we all have our different codex that we've come in, what you've talked about, which I absolutely love, the gold print of who we are, and to work into that. And
Mm,
obviously so that part of ours where we have the shared is around parenting. And I had like a great awakening with my children, but more so when they got older. So that was just a really interesting one. So I had mine later than yours. But what I'd really love to talk into is, you talked about the healing and your own healing journey. And I think, and you've also mentioned before around sovereignty. And so I think that that is such an important part. And as we're moving into this next phase of our planet's evolution, more and more we are being drawn into and being called into our sovereignty, our
mm,
healing. And so I would really love to ask you about your healing journey.
mm,
What was the catalyst to make you go, wait a minute, this, something's not working, I've got to make a change. So, and then what you
mm.
did, because I think these sort of stories can really help, one, humanize each other, because we could look at you going, oh my God, this has just been a natural thing of you. You're a mother at 20, like this came naturally to you, but we all have our challenges. And I think it's important to speak into them. So would you be willing to talk into your challenges and talk into the healing journey that you undertook?
Absolutely. So I think the biggest for me that I needed to dive into, and that I did when I became a mum, was the fact that on a subtle level, I felt like the mother was missing in my life. And even so, because when I was a child, that was just the way it was for me. Like mum wasn't around, but that was the way it was. And essentially, I think I just took that heart, and I just shoved it down really deep. And it was only when I became a mum, Eve, darling, shh, when I became a mum, that actually came to my awareness, that I was like, wow, I realized that I was still looking for my mother in my life. And so essentially what I needed to do was to go into that, and to go into that grief and into that sorrow, and feel that absence, and like really deeply feel it and sit in it. And within that, when I dove into that, the Divine Mother came to me, and she wrapped me in her loving presence, and she reminded me that I am infinitely and unconditionally loved and supported always, no matter what, and that I am enough always, exactly as I am. And like having that like sink into me on that deeper level was so deeply profound. And realizing and having that deep divine reconnection with the Divine Mother, and realizing once more that I am a child, a daughter of the divine. And so now from that, I don't look to my mum anymore for that support. I love her and we have a great relationship now, but now it's the Divine Mother that I connect within me. And then that has been my greatest teacher of how I hold myself in my life, how I bring through this Divine Mother energy and essence for myself within my life and my children as well. But it starts with me. And what else was I going to say there? I just dropped that
Oh,
that
that's
train
good.
of thought. Yeah.
And you know what? And I think I kind of just went, "Brrr," and I asked you about 20 million questions. But I do want to, I want to honor you because you were a baby yourself when you had a baby. And for you to like turn inwards and to do the work so young is so courageous. And I want to honor that because not everyone has the courage to kind of turn inwards and do that work, because we go, and it's easy to blame outside and it's easy to blame other people and it's easy to go, well, this is my life because, but for you to not do that and turn inwards and get that goodness from a very young age, it's so beautiful. It's so beautiful. I want to like just honor that. And in your masterclass, you talked about your gorgeous offering and the Divine Mother Temple. So what I love and what I loved about that masterclass is the fact that you have a Divine Mother like temple offering, but what is and I loved your distinction. What is the Divine Mother Temple to you?
Yes. Okay. So the Divine Mother Temple is us. It is us as women. And
Sorry, yes, I love that. And I just want to say that I want you to say that again because it's like I'm sitting there going, yes, it is.
yes, and it's actually so like just absolutely, yeah, letting that really sink in, that the Divine Mother Temple is us. It's right here. And it's the way it's right inside us. And the key to reconnecting and reclaiming this Divine Mother Temple that we are is within our heart, and our ability to reconnect with that unconditional loving presence of the Divine Mother in our heart, and the ripple effect that then this has throughout our whole being as women, and throughout our whole life, and literally throughout the whole fabrication of creation, I feel, is just so profound. And that's what I was also going to say before, was because in order for us to have this reflected back to us, this Divine Mother presence, which is here all the time, it's the true nature of life, this holding unconditional loving presence of life. But really for us to feel that and know that, it is we first need to open up to that inside of us and reclaim that and step back into this sacred temple space in here, this divine essence of embodied love within this physical form, this sacred feminine unconditional loving essence in our bodies, to then really feel it and experience it in our everyday life again. So it starts here, like that journey of reclamation. It's right here. Yeah.
Absolutely. Like 100,000,000,000%. And I think that's probably like one of, and I'm only just talking for me, that was probably one of my hardest lessons to learn. And it wasn't until I learned it, and it wasn't until I went, okay, I'm stopping, like
Mm.
looking outside of myself, I'm stopping. And I literally caused such a shitstorm in my whole life that I had to, like, in every aspect of my life, like I literally made
Yeah.
it such a point where I had to go, I really need to stop and look because this is like really uncomfortable. And there's so much power and there's so much beauty and there's so much grace when we stop and look in. But
Mm.
for me, it took until I was really 45 to kind of, like, I'd have a
Yeah.
little peek and I'd open up and do a little peek and do that, but until I really ripped it open. So what can you suggest to those people like me 10 years
Mhm.
ago that was going, you know what, my life is a bit of a shitstorm. I'm busy at work and I'm busy with the kids and I'm, like trying to keep up with the Joneses and I'm trying to do all this sort of stuff. Like, what is some really beautiful little nuggets of gold that you can turn around to this beautiful sister and go, my gorgeous one,
Mm.
that's you to go.
Yes. This is so beautiful to reflect on because I feel like we need to flip it. We actually need to invert it. I feel like this has been inverted, this concept that we seek outwardly to meet our own needs. And then there's, even as women, like there's this outward, we're doing here, we're doing there, we're doing XYZ, we've got all this list and righty rah. And it's such a masculine energy as well in itself. And I really feel like we need to flip that. We need to come back in and remember our divine feminine essence and way of being, because that is so much an internal way of being. I mean, even looking at our own womanly genital parts, it's inwardly, like
Yes.
the
Yeah.
way that our nature, our as women, and this divine feminine essence, and the way this flows through us, it's really from within. And so I really feel like if we consider that and flip it and go, rather than doing out there and seeking, I am going to come back inside my heart, be present in my body, and realize again that actually I have everything I need right here. Even if I don't know it yet, even if I can't feel it yet, I'm going to just make that conscious choice to turn back in and to choose to be self-sourcing again. And even if we don't know what that means, what does it even mean to be self-sourcing? Well, okay, but I'm actually making that choice, because I think that in itself is the choice to want that, to want to know what that is and remember what that is and feel that. That's the catalyst. And then the process begins. And which, can also sometimes be quite messy, because as we have spoken about before, like that process of, oh, transformation. Now, hang on a second. I really want to deeply remember, and I really want to be self-sourcing, and I've made this deep commitment to turn back in and remember. And so that means all these other ways in which I've been living my life are being shaken up, and it's a really wobbly, it can feel really wobbly and unsettling. So I think that's where being able to just even simply choose love, and that in itself, like when really everything's wobbly, it's all over the place, I'm just going to take a moment, my hands on my heart, I'm going to breathe in and out of my heart, and I'm going to find that loving, that warm, loving presence inside my heart, and I'm going to allow that to guide me now through this shitstorm, so to speak.
It really is like a massive so when everything's falling around. Um, so I love every one of those. Like I absolutely love it. And the other thing which is really powerful, which is what you're offering, so I'm going to be the one to say it, is get a mentor. Get a mentor who you're like, my life is a little bit of a shitstorm. I'm feeling, because I remember there's been times when I couldn't even feel my heart. And left the army after 32 years. I went to a Hare Krishna and did a yoga teacher training. And I remember I was in there and I'm like, oh my goodness, I can feel my heart. And I was so excited. It was like a reclamation back into my body. So if there are
Yes.
other women that are like, or like where I was, that were like, I have no idea. I can't feel my body. I know this isn't where I want to go. I suggest that you look for Ailie Dawn Clayton-Horne. She is the one. She is the one that's going to be able to take you and show you and lead you and hold you during those wobbly, wobbly times. And
Yes.
I think now this is a perfect segue for us to talk about your Divine Mother Temple offering.
Yes. Okay. Yes, thank you for that, Rebecca. And before I even dive into my own beautiful offering, I'd love to say too, that mentorship is
Mm.
actually, even for me personally as well, on a personal level, it has also been one of those greatest catalysts to assist me to see myself and deepen my relationship with myself even more. Having someone holding you in that sacred, unconditionally loving space and always calling your higher self forward and seeing you for your higher self is just so important and so profound. And it's
Yeah.
been really interesting because sometimes those decisions to step into that mentorship have also felt really wobbly and uncomfortable. It's like, oh my goodness, for whatever reason, XYZ, this is an investment. Oh, my ego self is saying this isn't safe and all the things, but
Yes.
being able to listen to that deeper inner knowing, or just being like, you know what? I'm just doing it. I'm just
Yeah.
doing it, has given so much even to me. So my beautiful offerings, the Divine Mother Temple session and the Divine Mother Temple journey. So essentially both of these have the same codex. One is just a one-off session, and even within that one-off session, I have come in and out of whether I would offer it as a one-off session, simply because I feel like that journey of reclamation and remembrance is a journey, and it does take time. It takes time. It first, we have a bit of an awakening. Essentially, we really go deep and we reconnect with that sacred temple space within. But then in our everyday life, how do we be in that now? How do we embody that? How do we anchor that down? How do we honor that? It's sort of, that's where it's such important work to be held in that sacred space of a mentorship, which is the Divine Mother Temple journey. So the Divine Mother Temple journey is a mentorship container of 3 months, and the first and third weeks within that each month, you will have a Divine Mother Temple alchemy session, which is we really go deep into whatever is there essentially that is kind of blocking you or preventing you from really reconnecting and remembering and stepping even deeper into this divine connection with this divine mother essence of unconditional love inside of you. And so whether that's, like whatever that looks like, childhood, whether there's things there that you need to really look at and heal. And so that's a deep alchemical session. And then every second week uh, of each of those 3 months as well is a Christic energy healing session. And so this essentially Christic energy healing just assists integration. It's a bit more like a meditation and a bit more gentle in some ways. The receiver can lay back and receive this beautiful attunement. It's like an attunement. That was the word I was looking for a couple of days ago. It was actually attunement. And then every fourth week of each month within this 3-month container is integration week, which gives that breathing space for the beloved sister that's in this container and also myself, and also gives the sister the opportunity to practice holding herself. And throughout the mentoring, all the things that she's received and those, those drop-ins of information and transmissions and downloads and codes and these different things, she gets to practice those and cultivate her own ability of self-mastery, because that's what the journey is ultimately about. I want to be able to assist women to awaken to this unconditional loving presence inside of them, to then learn how to alchemize and work with this unconditional loving presence inside of them, how they can actually step even deeper into their own mastery of this, and then also how to cultivate this and walk their everyday life and hold themselves in their everyday life as this embodiment, and really practice this mastery in their everyday life. So it is quite an initiation journey and a journey of transformation, this 3-month container, because you are being called forward. You're being called forward to actually choose to awaken even deeper to your essence as unconditional love, and how this unconditional love flows through you as a divine woman. And then you're being required to actually apply this and go deep into the parts of you that have been hiding in the shadows, to bring them out into the light, to love them up, to feel them, to release them, to transmute them. And then also in your everyday life, choosing to be that pillar of light and walking in your family, leading with your heart in your family, in your community, being that amazing anchored and grounded pillar of light. And so that is the 3-month journey. And then the one-off session is essentially like a mini version of this. So the first week before the actual alchemy session, I will be assisting the sister to start to open up her channels and become aware of this unconditional loving presence inside of herself, and that sacred feminine way, that divine mother way of being, that softening. Within the first week, we'll just start to prepare the field in that way. And then we have the alchemy session right in the middle, where we really dive deep and we work with what's coming up and what she's feeling in her body, and really grounding her even deeper into her body and doing these alchemies so that she can start to really feel this unconditional loving presence embodied and see how this alchemizes. And of course, I assist. I'm there assisting and doing this and holding this space. And then after this session, I really assist this beautiful sister for the week after the session is about anchoring down, anchoring into the grids of Gaia, being able to receive nourishment and support to integrate and support to be embodied from Gaia, and also in her own life, being able to remain connected to this unconditional love in her body and allow that to be her guide. So that is my offering, yeah.
So it sounds so delicious. And you actually forgot. So you actually offer support throughout the time as well, don't you? Like in the 3 months.
I did forget that. Thank you, Rebecca. Yeah, so I absolutely do. And that's such a key part of it too. Absolutely. So within the session, the Temple Divine Mother Temple session, I offer WhatsApp chat support throughout that whole 2-week period. Essentially, you have that one-on-one support from me within the WhatsApp chat, and also that sacred space. I'm holding you within sacred space. I'm holding you through this process, through the wobbliness and the transformation, and out the other side. I'm holding you within that, and you have my support. And once again, within the 3-month journey, I also offer that one-on-one mentorship support, and again via WhatsApp chat. And then that's like being held in sacred temple space for 3 months as well, which is just amazing, because that in itself, like being held in that sacred temple space, even that element in itself starts to really deeply rewire us to this true nature of unconditional loving, holding presence of life, because that's there and that's available to us all the time, all the time. And it's only whether we choose or are able to see it or not and feel it or not, depending on what lenses we're looking through or what certain programs or things we have running. So that element in itself is really powerful as well. Thank you for bringing that up.
No, it's such an important part. And why I love that part so much is, you know, we've mentioned that change is difficult. We've mentioned that change is wobbly. We mentioned that, you know, like we're navigating it and have been held through a WhatsApp container to be able to just go, hey, Ailie, I'm feeling, and you go, that's great. That's fantastic. Keep on going, breathe through it, and reminding them. So I think it's just such a gorgeous, gorgeous like part of your offering. So
Yes.
and then how I can also see this, Ailie, and what I love about it is that one, the divine, like the one-off can be for those that go, hey, what is this? Like, what is this little offering? And do I want to just dip my toe in? And that's probably for someone that really is wanting change and really sort of calling out, going, there needs to be something more. How do I hold myself? What do I do? The second thing I love about that one is it could be for the woman who is like, I've done a lot of work. I'm feeling kind of good. This might be a really good kind of like tune up or an add-on to my already going and wonderful life. So I love that you've got those two offerings, because the 3-month journey, you will be able to cover so much and they will change so dramatically. Oh my goodness, my words. So dramatically. Which would be really gorgeous. So amazing.
Yes.
I wonder if there's anything else that I'd like to ask. I actually feel like it is actually complete. And so I'd love to finish on you mentioned self-care. So one of the things, and it's like, and taking care of yourself. And so I really would love, because I know self-care, you know, some people, I remember years ago, I'd be like, self-care is I'm going to go and get myself a manicure or a massage or da-da-da, which is great. And it's nice for maintenance, but it's actually not self-care. So self-care is actually, it's actually what you're offering is self-care. So, but how do you take care of yourself or offer self-care? Like, what's some advice that you would go, all right, beautiful women, these are some of the tips and tools that can help you to look after yourself. Take your times when they are wobbly. Here's what I've got to hold you.
Yes, absolutely. So to me, really, self-care is about how we hold ourselves in our everyday life. Are we actually really being loving and caring towards ourselves? And that's actually a really deep decision. It even in the way we respond, the way we respond to other people, the way we respond to our children, for because you know, many people that women that come into my field are mothers, and there is a difference between actually doing that from a place of unconditional love and care for ourselves or not. And so that's once again what I do every day in my life is I actually consciously choose to come from that unconditional loving softness in that I hold myself. I'm holding myself in this unconditional love. It's almost like a warm embrace from the Divine Mother. It's like I'm being held in that always. And I notice when I'm not, and I go, I'm not now. I've actually, and when I notice it, I go, okay, I choose to soften in this moment, that choice to soften and just take a breath and come back to love, back to this unconditional love, and to make my next choices and moves from this beingness of love inside of me. And you're so right. This is such a big part of what I offer, because it's like it's what it's all about, really.
Yeah,
Yeah.
1,000%. And part of what you were talking about before, and I just really want to just speak into it quickly because I think it's really important, is making sure that the mentors we choose and we look to are ones that actually embody the work. Because I know that the amount that I'm able to hold now through my embodiment, through the work and the clearing and the taking and holding myself so beautifully, so vast and so different to where I was 5 years ago, 10 years ago. And
Absolutely.
the changes are lasting because it's for other people, because you are mirroring that for them. You are showing them the goal. This is how we do it. Let me be a reflection. Let me do that. So it's really important to find beautiful mentors who have done the work, who are fully embodied and
Absolutely.
embodied in their
Absolutely.
codex and doing it. So
Yeah.
there's so much more I
Yeah.
could ask, but I just want to honor it because I think that we might need to have another conversation around sovereignty and taking care of ourselves and
Oh,
self-care.
yes.
Like there's 25,000 different conversations that I would love to have with you, but now is not the time. But
Yes.
we have covered the most important part, which is your offerings and which is
Yeah.
your gorgeous soul mission and expression in this lifetime, and it is divine. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you for bringing it through, for sharing it. And the transformation people are going to have is going to be so profound because, and you've already said it, when we are kind and loving to ourselves, when we learn to hold ourselves through the shitstorm, changes occur, and that ripple effect then turns to how we talk to our friends, how we talk to our loved ones, how we talk to our colleagues. You change the world by changing yourself, and you are teaching people that. You are guiding people that. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you. I love
That's
you, and I'm
beautiful.
so proud
Thank
of
you.
you. And
Yes.
I'm gonna leave that there. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you, beautiful Rebecca. It's been such an
Okay.
honor.
Oh, it's so gorgeous. And all of our Ailie's contacts will be with this gorgeous recording. Love to you all.